We're live.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so welcome everybody to week 4 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teams. So in week 1, we covered habit 1, which was be proactive, and then habit 2 in week 2, which was begin with the end in mind, and habit 3 on week 3, which is put first things first. So today we're on week 4, and the fourth habit will be to think win-win. Okay, so we will sort of have a look at our assignment towards the end for last week's habit and how we were able to put things in the right category for putting first things first. For this session, as we go along, if you have any questions or any thoughts you want to share, please include it in the chat. And my co-assistant will help me because I can't see it right now. But let's get started and sort of let's whiz through this, and then I'll explain the win-win process, and then we can have a bit of a discussion after. So naturally, I would ask what everyone understands by the term win-win. When you hear that, what do you think of? If there's any sort of chat in the group. Just have a quick think about what win-win. Do we have anything in the chat? Okay, that's fine. So the idea of thinking win-win, as you can see from the illustration, is that both individuals have a smile on their face. And the idea of win-win is having an attitude that everybody can win and everyone can have a bit of success as well. So I will go into it in more depth again, but there's different categories. The idea of win-win is basically knowing it's about how we deal with situations in life. Do we come from a perspective where we want everyone to be happy, or do we come from a perspective where we put ourselves first, or actually in some cases it's a lose-lose and everyone's unhappy? So Stephen, the owner of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, suggested 4 categories in which we as humans deal with situations. So there's win-win, lose-win, win-lose, or lose-lose. So I'm just going to go through each one. The first one being win-lose. And win-lose is having an attitude of you always want to be the one who's successful. You always want to have the bigger stake of the pie, of the success pie. It's quite a competitive model. It's full of pride in a sense. And you always sort of want to be praised. You always want to be winning and be in the lead of things. So for example, this young lady here in purple has won this situation. And for sometimes win-win is good to have. For example, if you are in a competitive situation, maybe sports, or there is a competition, the idea is to win, essentially. So it can be handful to have that mentality sometimes, but it's not always great to have that personality in all situations where you're continuously always being competitive and using other people for your own purpose, or trying to get ahead of other people for your own expense or for your own winning. Like, for example, spreading rumors about people just to sort of put them down and make yourself feel better, or always just necessarily being jealous of the other person. So you're always doing things to sort of be ahead of them and win. That's one way of dealing with things. And then we've got this chap over here in the red. That would be the lose-win mentality. So essentially, he's someone who always lets people ahead of them, doesn't want conflict, doesn't speak up his mind. You're always the nice guy, would rather let other people be happy, rather be the peacemaker. But in a sense, you're sort of putting yourself, making yourself unhappy and setting yourself low expectations and compromising on your standards or giving into peer pressure So, for example, if you want to do something but your friends don't want to do it, you sort of let them go ahead of you, or you let them make the decisions even though you're not happy about it. So that's another model, the lose-win model. Again, not very practical. I mean, sometimes great. You might not every situation you want it's going to be a win-win situation. Sometimes for peace sake, maybe even with your siblings, you might let them sort of have a little win if it gives a calmer peace for the whole situation for the whole day. But in real life, we don't always want to adopt this model of lose win, because essentially you become a doormat and people will walk all over you. So it's not a great way to deal with situations, okay? The other alternative we have is lose lose, and this is where both parties, both individuals involved are are basically obsessed about necessarily winning. And as a result, no one benefits. So you're sort of, this is an attitude where you drag everyone down with you. Well, if I'm not going to win, they're not going to win either. So that's basically working in an environment where you're not working as a team person, or it's quite miserable. You're just dragging other people down with you. You're obsessed about the person, maybe in a negative way. And everyone generally is unhappy by the outcome of the situation. So that's another way of dealing with situations. We've got Sarah. My presentation is going possibly backwards. Okay, bear with me a second. Okay, so we've covered lose, win, lose, win, and lose, lose. And finally, the best mentality to adopt is the win-win buffet. This is usually referred to as all you can eat buffet. It's a belief that everybody can win. It's even though you're having a tough time, you're lifting other people up. Everyone is benefiting from the situation as much as possible. It's not just about you and what you get out of it, but it's actually about everyone else. And it's making sure the success goes round. So the food goes round like an all you can eat buffet, essentially. So in this situation, from this picture, you can see that the person is providing money and the other person in blue is actually selling the product. They're both getting what they want and they're both happy. Again, lower down, we can see in the picture that both people, cheerleaders, different types of cheerleaders, are both happy. So example of this would be, for example, if you do an exam and maybe your friend gets an A and you get a B, you're both winners because you actually still got both good grades, you're both celebrating each other. Or if a friend of yours maybe gets onto a team that they wanted to get onto and maybe you didn't, but you're actually still happy for that person and you know next time you're going to try and also get onto that team as well. So it's just having a positive mentality to situations in life and sharing success. And the general idea about having a win-win mentality is dealing with your own confidence and insecurity. So having that peaceful mindset that success is for everyone. Life is not about being a competition or always being sort of against another person, against your peers. And that the mentality of having that competitive spirit can cause a lot of anxiety and take away your peace sometimes. So having a win-win mentality gives you more peace, more calmness, knowing that actually we can all work together, we can all study together to achieve our goal. There isn't just one A grade for one person in the class. Everyone can get an A grade. Some people can get a B grade. It's just having that peace of mind that success is possible for everyone and everyone can win. Okay. So, oh, I forgot my presentation is going backwards. Here's an example of how one situation can be applied to all different options we've just spoken about. So we've got the win-lose mentality would be actually we're going to play by my rules and I don't care what you say. Or if you're in a lose-lose situation, you would actually think, I'll play by your rules because that's what you would do in a doormat situation. You would just agree to what everyone else thinks, but actually you're not really happy. You don't like that situation. Okay. Lose lose would be I'm not going to play and you're not going to play. So we're not playing at all today. Everyone's unhappy and going to remain unhappy. Or you can go with the best option would be the win-win, where you agree that you can play by the person's rules today and they would play by your rules tomorrow. So that way you both have a happy ending and everyone's happy essentially. So those are the four different situations. And the ones we want to promote the most is win-win. So I'm going to come off the presentation. I hope I've explained it enough, but we're going to go into a bit of a discussion now where we can actually think about how we can apply a win-win situation to our lives, how we can change the narrative, and maybe give some situations and how we can apply it in principle, in practice, okay?
Okay, just to say that when we go into the discussion, we have to come off YouTube.
Yeah.
Because of the young people don't want to be identified. So if there's anything else that you want to re-emphasize in this presentation, now's the time to do it, because once we come off YouTube, I won't bring it up again.
Yeah. No, I think I've covered everything for the presentation aspect of it.
All right. Okay. So off we go from YouTube. So bye to everyone. If I could do it.